What is going on, Wolfpack Nation? Hope everybody's doing well this evening. Thank you all so much for tuning in here with us. And Chris, it's funny that you send that comment. We're going to be discussing that here in 1 second. But before we get into it, though, make sure, again, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Again, it's free to do. And make sure you don't miss out whenever we release new NC State content. And also, to help support us as well. So if you don't mind, please do that. Would really, really appreciate it. And also, to give this video a like so that way more NC State fans will see this. And also, too, if you haven't already, give us a follow at Tuffy Talk Now on Twitter, Instagram. But hopefully you're already on that train. But so we'll jump on Chris's comment first. But also, too, before we jump into that as well, if you're tuning in here with us, make sure, again, send us any questions, thoughts, whatever it may be during this discussion here for next hour or so. And again, we'll make sure to get to as many of them, if not all of them. So Chris brought up, I just saw where Ray Romano was going to play Jim Valvano in upcoming documentary, and that is the best news I've heard all day. So we were actually Greg actually messaged us in our little text group chat about that. So I wanted to ask Greg, so what is it exactly? So is it a documentary about Jimmy V that Ray is playing, or what is it exactly?
Yeah, it's going to be a biopic, which is essentially like a documentary movie, but it's going to be a fully featured film, like real acting. It won't be like, testimonials, and it's going to be the opposite of what the 30 for 30 Surviving Advance is. So, if you think of, like I was saying in our chat, the movie Ray, or, any of those, the Lincoln movie that came out a few years ago with Daniel Day-Lewis, that's going to be along those lines. Obviously, we didn't get Daniel Day-Lewis to play Jimmy V, but Ray Romano is a great actor in and of himself. So I think that's going to be a great feature.
Yeah. Well, it's a great, because if you really think about it, I'm obviously starting at Rutgers and then going to Iona College. And then, I'm sure they could probably recreate that funny story where, where Jimmy V says, I'm Jim Valvano, I own a college, and the recruit goes, "Hey, Ma, this guy owns his own school." That'd be a funny clip that they could recreate. And then like end with him, running around, the gymnasium, hugging people, like, and that'd be a really good movie, like a really, really good movie. My
guess is the movie will probably end with his speech. I think that will probably where they leave the movie. If I were to write the script, I think that would I would make that my final scene and just kind of close it with that, because other than winning the '83 title, that's probably what a lot of people remember him for, is that SP speech where he was given the award.
Yeah,
but
I'm surprised it hasn't been made already.
Yeah.
Like,
no, me too.
He's just such a big, person in the sports world.
Yeah.
If you think about it, though, I'm sure that it'll probably come out next year, and it'll be kind of coinciding with the 40th anniversary of us winning the title. So I'm thinking maybe that's kind of where they're leaning towards this thing. Obviously, I'm not a producer, but I know I saw Ray Romano is going to be one of the producers, and the Valvano family is going to be one of the producers as well, too. So he's got to have access to the family for all kinds of, nuggets and stories and artifacts. So I'm sure they'll be reaching out to the university as well. Hopefully they play nice with that too. So.
Oh, I'm sure, like, Derek Wittenberg and Terry Gannon, all those guys are going to be a part of it, I'm sure. So Major Wolf brings up his locker room speech at Rutgers should be in there. The Green Bay Packers. Oh yes, that's got to be on there. And then go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, I was going to say, if you've ever gone through some of the clips they use for the 30 for 30, you can definitely get that whole speech on YouTube. It was he did like a speaking engagement, and there's some great one-liners and some stories that he's always known for on that. So if you haven't checked that clip out on YouTube, go check it out. It's really good.
Yeah. Still one of my favorite Jimmy V quotes to this day is when he told the quick story about how he asked the referee if he could tell him what he thinks, and the referee said and Jimmy V says, "Well, I think that you suck right now," and they gave him a T, and he said the moral of that is you can never trust the referees. I'm like, I love it. But yeah, Chris says can't think of a better actor, and I think he's definitely got the look where he could kind of form, because like obviously Jimmy V in his earlier years had longer hair, so again, it'll be interesting to see kind of how he puts them together a little bit there.
As Jimmy V would say, you got another paisan to play the paisan.
It works out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Terry says, "Sup, gents? Hope you all having a great day so far. Coming with all the positive vibes. Yeah, appreciate it, Terry. Absolutely, always positive vibes. I mean, it's always a great day to be an NC State fan. Every single day is that. But also too, though, one thing I do gotta say as well, which I don't know if I've said this on a live stream or an episode or what or not, but the full length of Jimmy V's $1 Million Roundtable speech is on YouTube. So
yeah, that's what I was just referencing.
If any State fan on here has not seen that full thing, go check it out. It is absolutely an amazing story, and I mean, just all his speeches. It's amazing. So definitely go check it out.
Yeah. Thank you for remembering that name of it. I couldn't remember the name of that speech.
$1 Million Roundtable.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. You have to pay $1 million and it donates to charity, and then you get all these speakers and this amazing dinner. It's quite an event, actually. It's pretty cool. So and then Hunter Smith said the movie is just magic. So excited for it. I mean, it's kind of crazy to think about. I mean, like this. I mean, because again, it's really going to be. It's going to be an NC State movie. I mean, basically. I mean, I know that obviously it's going to be Rutgers, it's going to be Iona, but I mean, everybody's going to think. Everybody thinks that's Jimmy V and thinks NC State. So it's kind of cool to get some publicity out there. So, and then Major Wolf brings up the famous Jimmy V quote saying that his mom took Houston and gave 18 points.
That is funny.
I love it.
Yeah, that was another one that he gave in that speech.
Which, by the way, too, it's still crazy to me though that how favored Houston was heading into it, that they were only favored by 8 points. Like they were talking like the Houston was the most gimmiest of gimmiest to beat NC State. So I'm surprised it's only 8 points.
Probably just because up to that point we weren't even supposed to be there, so it's like, okay, they made it this far.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know either, but either way though. So jumping into it though, again, we got a lot to talk about. Got some NC State baseball, tennis, talk a little bit of softball and things like that as well. So wanted to touch base on baseball first. So I want to start off going like this. So Michael and Greg. So I'm going to answer this, and all those who are with us too, I want to do comment as well. It's just yes or no. It's not yes, well, but no. It's just yes or no. Is this team good? Yes or no? Is this a good team? Is this a good baseball team? Yes or no?
You want to go first, Michael?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes
Greg?
and yes.
Yes and yes.
Yes. Yes, it is good. Good.
Okay.
Not anything more than good. Good.
Okay. All right. Yeah, because for those who might have seen it, Major Wolf says, "Man, I said yes or no, Major. Come on."
It wasn't an option, Major. Let's go.
Pay attention. Go ahead, Michael.
I know where you continue. I know where you're going with this.
Well, just like somebody brought up about saying like that we're not a good baseball team. I said, well, we have a lot of actually great pieces, but just a lot of inconsistency, a lot of youth. I think that's really the two things is inconsistency and youth. And a lot of that inconsistency comes from youth. But I mean, again, as well, it's like part of the reason why I wasn't overly upset about yesterday's game is because at the end of the day, we had the lead with Chris Villeman walking up to the plate. And so to me, it's like, Chris Villeman, who, I mean, is our closing pitcher right now, our best pitcher, no doubt about it. And even with Sam Highfield, you could still make the argument that maybe Chris is better than him, but either way, so it's like we put our best card out there, and still UNC found a way to win the game. So that's it's not like they played Chris like in like Saturday's game, and then we couldn't use him yesterday, and then they hit a dinger off of some other pitcher. So that was kind of one thought that was kind of going through my head. I mean, does that make sense at all, Greg?
Yeah. So, I mean, I was there this weekend. Let me preface this because you can't make excuses. You play the game the way you play it. In the conclusion of the first game that was done Saturday, Chris goes out there in a torrential downpour. I mean, honestly, because of the weather situation, had it been on Friday, they would have probably suspended it. But because we were already behind the 8 ball, they had to finish that game. They had to get it in because it was only going to get worse. And so he goes out there with the ball, has a little bit of trouble. They got a bunt. He just, the weather didn't help. As soon as the weather stopped, we go to bat. And now they get to throw with the dry ball. Yeah. Again, not making excuses, but it made it very tough for him. So In my opinion, he gets a pass for Saturday in the conclusion of game 1. That was horrible conditions. Yesterday, he just didn't hit a spot, and the guy hit it, and it went a long way. And you tip your hat, and that's it. So we could have easily swept that series, or at the worst, win 2 out of 3. So no, it's a good team.
Yeah. Michael, anything to add?
I mean, in general, if you really look at the ACC and you look at the RPI, we're 11th in the ACC and we're 31 in the country. The ACC is a very, very good conference. So, I mean,
if not the best right now, honestly.
Yeah, if not the best, it's either us or the ACC or the SEC.
And going into this weekend, to your point, Michael, we were 20th in RPI.
Yeah.
So
we've dropped.
Crazy.
Yeah,
but we're right there. So that was the point that I think you're going with. Right. That the ACC is a great conference.
Yeah, and I think there's I think about the whole season, and I think of there's like 4 or 5 games over the whole season where this team goes from being where it is now to being like a clear top 10, top 15. It's that 17-inning loss to Florida State. Both those games against Louisville, where we had a 5-1, 5-1 lead in both of those games, and then these two games against UNC that we lost by 1 run. You flip a couple of those, and
you can find more. You could easily find more games this season, easily. Where it was just things didn't go our way. But those 5 specifically in the ACC. I see what you're saying, though.
Yeah,
and then those 5, if you win 3, you're in first place.
Exactly. You win one of the Louisville and one of the UNC and the Florida State. That's 3 series that you've won now instead of lost too. So.
And Hunter, I want to bring in Hunter's comment there. It said 30-15 overall record right now with no ace pitcher. So no Sam Highfill for weeks now. UNC fortunate this past weekend. I think it is winter regional, but not super regional good. And I'd agree with that. And again, it all comes back to, again, we said this at the beginning of the year that obviously heading into this year, it was a lot of, we just made it to Omaha. We just went through the same situation. We're going to bounce back and do the same thing, these guys. And again, there's so much youth. I mean, like looking at specifically Tommy White, looking at Jacob Cozart, who I think shined this past weekend.
He had a great game day yesterday.
Yeah. And then Matt Willardson and Kanan Silver had great games this weekend too. And again, those are 4 young guys. And again, Tommy White just hit his 20th home run. And he's a true freshman, folks. Yeah. I mean, again, it's like I think if we didn't have last season, this season would be looked at a whole lot differently. Because again, I mean, overall, it's been a solid year. But I know we had high expectations. But again, I mean, obviously losing Sam Highfill, there's not many teams, if any teams, that can lose your best pitcher and be at the top of their conference, especially this year with the ACC the way it is. So, but again, so I really kind of look at this year and I kind of look at it as just things didn't go our way. And when I say it's not our year,
there's still season left. Let's not hang it up yet. So
no, absolutely not. But again, I mean, just so far it's not been our year. And when I say it's not been our year, I'm not saying that we haven't been good enough. Just there's been some things that just haven't gone our way, and so it's kind of far. But I mean, there's people calling for, that have commented calling for Avon's head. And again, I'm not even gonna. We're just gonna shoo that away and just move on. So
shenanigans. Let's go.
Yeah. And then Russell also says it's the time of the year to be peaking. Doesn't feel like we are peaking. And we showed signs for a while there. Like, we really tried to play our best ball, late in the year, but just some things didn't go our way. But I mean, because overall, I mean, like there's been a lot of guys like Noah Souls, again, Tommy, JT Jarrett's played well. Gino Groover, Lou James Groover, he's been playing really well recently. So again, there's been so many guys that have played well, pitched well, but just inconsistency a little bit more on the pitching side. But again, a lot of that goes to, again, if you have Sam Highfill and defensively, of course. Yeah, no, again, a lot of errors, but I'm more, again, I mean, pitching wise, I think that, again, if you, not to make excuses, but once again, I mean, if you have Sam Highfill, then again, that's 6-7 innings a weekend that are covered, at least, if not, hopefully more. So
They also showed on the defensive side, they showed a stat during the UNC game on Sunday that last year we were 6th in the country in fielding percentage, and this year we're 282nd or something. So it's definitely hurt us.
Yeah. No. Well, and again, a lot of that goes, I mean, looking at the outfield last year, so we had Johnny Butler, Devontae, and Tyler McDonough in the outfield. So again, all three of those guys, very experienced, played 3-4 years of baseball guys. And then now you got out there Dominique Pololi, Devontae, and Noah Souls.
Yep, Noah Souls in right field. Yep.
So,
and that's been a work in progress because Groover was out and left to start the season, and then right field. Who did we have in right field? Souls came in
Logan Adams
last month. Logan, I don't remember. I'm blanking on it, but so it's been a complete work in progress. And you had Tommy at first. Now he's kind of playing third.
You had him at third at one point. Yeah.
And then you had Hood at third. Now he's at short. So you've got guys moving around. And then JT was out for a few games, so you had Groover over there. So anyway, you get the point. It's been a complete work in progress this season.
Yeah. So again, just at the end of the day, this is, and again, keep in mind, just like you're saying, Greg, and I think keep in mind as well, this is a team that is good enough that in a regional situation where you basically win 2 games, and if you win 2 games, you're in a 80% or so advantage to win the regional.
Yeah.
This is a team that could do that. Easily can do that. I mean,
let's not forget we can still hit the ball.
We can still hit the ball. And again, we're very confident if we could pick out a few group of pitchers that we feel confident, we have that. And then again, in a 2-game situation, win those 2 games, these pitchers can cover that. So, but again, it's again, it's not close yet.
Last year in our run, we basically ran with 5 pitchers in the whole tournament. We basically ran with 5 pitchers, maybe 6.
And it's just, baseball's just, it's not like any other sport. We even just look at last year going into the super regional against Arkansas, we lose the first game 21-2. And it's like, okay, well, we had a good season, made it to the super regional. And then, we somehow win those last 2 games. So
we essentially walk it off to against the best pitcher in the country. So anything can happen.
Yeah. Absolutely. I forgot how good Kevin Kopps was last year, man. He was lights out.
That's right.
And we beat him. But baseball's the ultimate, it's not over till it's over sport.
No, you're absolutely right. And again, because Coastal Carolina, look at what I always laugh about how out of every single team that they faced throughout the entire postseason, we gave them easily the best fight out of every team, whether they faced in the College World Series or Super Regional against LSU. We're the team that gave them the biggest fight. So again, it's not over till it's over. But also too, got to give a shout as well, Joe Denand, former NC State shortstop, getting called up to the Miami Marlins, first at bat. Dinger, so that was awesome. And now we have 4 NC State baseball players in the pros, which is that's huge. That's great.
49 overall that have come through the program. I was making a comment yesterday because it has the 48 pros out in the left field wall. I said someone needs to go out there with a piece of paint marker and put an X and put a 9 next to it. That's 49 now. So,
that's right.
Update it.
So the next one will be 50. So that's a nice number to have out there on the outfield wall.
It's a good looking number.
I have a strong feeling that if nobody else goes before it, that Tommy White will eventually be that 50th. So just saying, that dude's a beast to being a true freshman. That dude's unreal. Yeah. But Hunter Smith pointed out as well that we lost 7 of our 9 position players, starters last year. Yeah, including the Golden Glove winner Austin Murr at first. So again, but I think we've beat this point into a pulp, so we can move on from it. But so in summary, just season's not over yet. Got a big series at Duke, which it's an away series, but again, it's at Duke. So just head on over to Durham, folks, and again, go support these guys in a hopefully winnable series. Knock on wood. So
last comment about ACC baseball. We did have a tie yesterday. If no one saw that,
I saw that.
Wake Forest versus Louisville. So, in the great Bad News Bears, a tie is like kissing your sister. So apparently we have one of those in the ACC. So
what? Yeah. How did they tie? Just the weather?
It was
it?
So yeah, they called it because they had to do a double header, I think, on Saturday, and then they ended up tying yesterday. I lost track of it. I was at the game. And I saw.
So what happened is, per ACC rules, all play has to be completed by 5 p.m. on Sunday. And so the game started late, and so it started at 1 o'clock, and so went so far to extras that they literally stopped after the 12th because it was 4:56. So they know there's no way they could fit in another inning before 5 p.m. Right. So that's why it ended in a tie, which was, again, you don't see that often, but it was really weird. So yeah.
Yep.
Anyway,
but just throw it out there. It was interesting.
Absolutely. No, good stuff. So I wanted to bring up as well this one, again, won't spend too much time here. Well, you know what? Let's spend all the important stuff here first, and then we'll go to the theoretical stuff. Major Wolf said, "Really? I thought it was scheduling constrictions." Yeah, no. Again, it was literally that you have to stop by 5 o'clock. It was 4:56. The bottom of the inning was done, so they had to stop. They couldn't continue because it had to be done by 5 o'clock.
Sounds like little league rules.
Yeah, I know.
Well, you know, again, I mean, it's basically just to make sure that the
player safety
get back before school and all that jazz. But
which is silly because school's out for pretty much everybody now. But we're moving on.
Yeah. So wanted to talk about tennis now, because I think that is one group right now that 100% deserves the hype right now. So for those that are not aware, women's and men's tennis are both going to the Sweet 16 in the NCAA tournament. They both hosted their regionals this past weekend. I think I can't remember. I think men's tennis went against Liberty. And Middle Tennessee State. And then women's went against somebody, and then Tennessee. I can't remember who they went against in the first round, but won both of them. And so we're one of only 6 or 7 schools. 6 in the country that have both their men's and women's going to the NCAA Sweet 16. So, and on top of it, this is the women's tennis third Sweet 16 in the last 4 years. And the only reason that they didn't go in 2020 was because of COVID, but they literally went 2019, 2021, and 2022. They've gone to the Sweet 16. And then men's tennis, this is their second ever Sweet 16. The first one being back in 2007. So again, huge weekend for the tennis programs. Again, just huge hats off to Coach Ershaw and the entire team and staff there. But I mean, again, just goes to prove once again that again, just overall in state athletics is just up and up and up. You know, and even though we have one that, again, we've spoke plenty about, and we're going to put it to bed for a while. Overall, there's every single team right now. Even we have club teams like sailing that's going to their second straight back-to-back national championship appearance. You know, NC State Ice Pack is killing it with 4 straight back-to-back ACC AHL championships. So again, I just can't say enough that, again, there's a reason why we say it's a great day to be an NC State fan, because again, there's so much to cheer about right now. It's not just like you're Alabama, you're just waiting for football. It's like, 365, you have something going on that you're excited about. So just want to throw that in there.
and both the tennis teams actually lost in the quarterfinals of the ACC tournament. So I was interested to see what they were going to do in the NCAAs. And again, that may just be the ACC being, I know there's a lot of the top teams in tennis are from the ACC, UNC and Virginia and Duke.
Yeah, so of the 6 that Leighton mentioned, the other 2 that made it for men's and women's are both UNC and Virginia. So to that point. So of the 6 programs, 3 are ACC squads.
Yeah.
And the other was Texas, Florida, and Stanford, if anyone cares. So
yeah. And one thing too, which was funny. So I was able to go to the softball. So Greg went to watch baseball. I actually went to softball because softball was doing a 3-game series against number 3 FSU. And it was also senior weekend. So I was going to go and, cover while the senior weekend. But man, so literally on Saturday, they had men's and women's tennis going on. They had baseball going on. They had softball going on, and they had graduation at Reynolds and also to multiple other academic facilities across the campus. So literally, it was bonkers trying to park there and get through.
Parking was fun.
Yeah.
I was exactly going to say the same. Parking was fun. Yeah,
it was interesting. So hats off to everybody, including Greg and I, that had to deal with the craziness that happened on campus this weekend. But yeah, so I think next up for tennis, I think it's this weekend. I'm looking at the schedule right now.
Men play the number 1 seed TCU, so that's going to be tough.
Oh yeah, on Saturday, and then women's go against California at 3 p.m. But it's at Raleigh.
Yeah, they get a host. Yep, women get a host.
So men go to Fort Worth, and then women's host the California. So
yeah,
so just keep that in mind. Yep. Hey, why not? Again, hey, just come support the girls Saturday 3:00 in the Sweet 16. So come support them.
I think the women, I saw that. I think they should have a good chance of winning. I think Cal was an upset. I don't think they're ranked. So yeah, that could be big.
One other stat too I saw was, so I think women's had 25 wins this season, which is the most wins in program history. So again, it's awesome to see. And then on top of it, I also saw that softball actually had the second highest weekend attendance in program history. I think they had like over 2,100 people attend the series. So
they were all sold out, I believe, too, right?
They were.
They sold all 3 games out. Yep,
they were. So again, it's and obviously looking, I think the softball team was 30 and 20, something like that, something like that, give or take. Yeah. And they were 7-17 in the ACC. But I mean, literally, just like baseball right now has probably 6-7 teams competing. Softball is the exact same thing. Virginia Tech is number 1 right now, actually. If I'm not mistaken, number 1, number 2. It's either Oklahoma or Virginia Tech is number 1, number 2, and then Florida State's number 3. So and then
their baseball team's top 5 too. Virginia Tech, that is.
And then Duke's up there. Clemson is, I think, number 9 in the country, and then Georgia Tech. So again, there's a lot of good softball teams right now. So again, right now it's kind of the same thing where I think that if the ACC wasn't so strong right now, then the softball team would be much more impressive this year. But just unfortunately, every single weekend pretty much that they've faced has been against either a good, if not great, softball team. So but either way, again, it's just great to see some excitement with the program and just see some energy, and obviously highlighted for sure as of recently with the number 4 overall recruiting class this past year that Coach Swift was able to pull in. Because one of the things I was talking to a fan about as well was that it's really impressive to me, because most of the time you usually see a jump up in recruiting first year that they come in, because there's all this excitement of, it's this new coach, like we're gonna change the program. But for her to literally do it, basically pitching to these players what they've done so far, and then basically saying, this is the vision, things like that, I think that's even more impressive. Again, especially having the number 4 overall in the entire country, number 4. Like that's pretty crazy. So again, hats off to Coach Swift and her staff to get a class over like that. Even after, let's be real, not having the strongest start so far. But again, I mean, you knew with the program that it was going to be a rebuild. It's going to take time. So.
And with that 4th recruiting class, it's going to pay dividends probably either next year or the year after, right? Because that's your foundation. Now you just keep building on top of that. And usually, probably by their junior years, it's like, okay, this is the year we break through. This is where we take that 2nd and 3rd step up. So, the future is definitely bright for the women's softball team.
Absolutely.
And they are, I think they're the 10 seed in the ACC tournament, and they face Georgia Tech, who we got swept by in Atlanta earlier this year. So,
again, I mean, Georgia Tech's the 7th seed, and I think pretty much the 7th seed up are the teams right now that are looking to be the favorites to make it to the NCAA tournament. So again, they play Georgia Tech Wednesday at 3:30, but it's in Pittsburgh. But it'll be on the ACC Network. So 3:30 ACC Network. Make sure to tune in and support these girls. But Yeah, but again, I mean, one of the things also too I wanted to point out as well is looking back at the series against Florida State. Um, so Friday they played, lost 3-1, and then they lost 10-6, and then they lost 4-8. So, and literally that first
fight.
game. Well, exactly, and because literally too, the Friday when they lost 3-1, they had a runners on first and second, 2 outs, and Carson Shaner was up to bat, and she literally hit it deep to left, and it was like 15 feet short of the fence. So it was literally 15 feet away from hitting a walk-off home run to beat Florida State. So that would have been huge. But again, so and that was one of the things that we said in the tweet was, I mean, saying it was super impressive to see the fight, and that we weren't just, we weren't getting killed, like getting run ruled, in 5 innings. So
it was respectable.
Exactly. So, and Hunter said a solid overall record and heading in the right direction. Absolutely. Yeah. No, that's 100% right. So touching base as well. I'm trying to think. Trying to make sure we don't forget anything. Any other sports that we need to be highlighting? I think that's
women's
about
golf.
it.
Women's golf out
women's
in
golf coming up.
Oklahoma. No, they just wrapped up
Right
day
now.
1. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Today. So
men's golf is going to, I think, Connecticut for their regional.
Yep.
We're tied for 25th. So after day 1.
Okay. Day 1, plenty of time. And also, too, NC State baseball faces UNCW tomorrow night, actually, at 6 p.m. in Wilmington. So those who are interested.
Sorry, my apologies. Where team standing was 7th. Our best golfer was tied for 25th. So
okay,
okay.
That's much better than that 25th.
My apologies. My apologies. I was trying to read the article and I didn't scroll fast enough. So there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, and Rusty mentioned about the Ray Romano. Yep, we actually talked about that right out of the start, actually. So yeah, that's gonna be huge, though. So excited to see that. So now I guess we can jump into a little bit. Oh, so one thing we did want to talk about was the announcement of Coach Johnson leaving men's basketball. So wanted to kind of get y'all's thoughts because again, I mean, I did find it interesting how again the news came out that he left. He wasn't fired. He left. So so let me ask you, Michael, first. What were your initial thoughts when you heard the news?
I was surprised. I think everybody was surprised. I don't really know what to think. It felt like he was going to be. It felt like James Johnson was going to be a guy who was going to be there the whole time Keats was. They were college teammates. He's been like with him the longest out of all his assistants that he's had. But sometimes you just need a change, and if he truly did just leave on his own, I mean, do what he needed to do, and that opens up another spot to bring in somebody new and fresh.
Sure.
So we'll see what happens.
Yep. Greg, anything to add?
I think the timing's a little interesting. I mean, we've been out of the season now almost 2 months. We've been done. My guess is we may be seeing an announcement here in the next couple of days that he's going somewhere else. Just because, like Michael said, that's his right-hand man. That was his first hire 5 years ago. I don't know. I mean, typically you have something lined up if you're just going to walk away from a current contract and all that. So my guess is he's going to be taking another position somewhere, but obviously that's just speculation on my part.
Yeah. And I'm hoping obviously that it's like a head coaching job of some sort.
Sure.
So that way it's like, he went for an upgrade, not just like for like a sideways movement. But I mean, at the end of the day, it is what it is, got to do what's best for him and his family, which, completely understand that. So, but again, either way, again, we won't take too much about it. Then they all will say is the bar is understood. So Keats has a bar for next season. So that's all we're gonna say on that until we get a little bit closer here and find out a little bit more news of hopefully some more additions. But
last thing I'll say is people wanted change, so here's your change. So no more complaining.
Nope,
no more complaining.
No complaining.
Actually, we're all complaining. We're fans. We're gonna keep complaining. But
sure,
people are getting what they want. So
yeah,
let's give everybody the benefit of the doubt.
Amen. And Hunter said that his parents will be in Wilmington for the game. And yeah, I mean, it's hopefully, I mean, since we just had all this rain, hopefully it's going to be a nice weekend. So hopefully it'll be a good weekend for baseball.
Yeah.
So yeah, so now I wanted to kind of bring in a little bit of football here. So Michael, you shared this screenshot. I wanted to kind of discuss it because I think it's very interesting. So Pete Thamel said sources under discussion this week at ACC meetings will be the future of scheduling, including the potential to eliminate divisions as early as 2023. This was discussed last week on calls to set up the meetings. One model being discussed in each football program is having 3 permanent opponents, but not necessarily 3 pods of 3. Sorry, not necessarily pods of 3. And the other 5 programs rotating on and off the schedule every other year. There's also a potential model with 2 permanent opponents and 6 teams rotating on and off in the same manner. These models would allow every ACC team to host every other ACC team every 4 years. This would bring more variety to the schedule. So yeah, I mean, I'll start off by saying that I think that everybody would agree more on the Atlantic side than the coastal side that a change in the scheduling is way overdue. And if we're going to point out positive, because again, believe it or not, even though COVID was a terrible thing, I'm sure, I mean, there's no way any of us would want COVID to happen again or have had to have happened at all. But if we're going to find the positives, one of the positives that came out of it was looking at that schedule that year, playing Duke, playing Georgia Tech, playing Miami. It was really cool to see some adversity, see schools like Miami come to the Carter-Finley, see Duke come to Carter-Finley, Georgia Tech come to Carter-Finley that we typically wouldn't see, And so it was like, hey, and again, it made everything a whole lot more, just
level.
I feel like level, exactly, because especially looking at this year, Boston College, Clemson, us, Wake Forest, Louisville are all going to be.
Florida State's coming back.
Florida State's going to be, is hopefully going to be better, and so again, it's like those teams are going to make up. So again, and on the coastal side, you got Pittsburgh and Miami, and then a whole bunch of questions. So, again, I think that especially this year that some diversity would be great because again, I mean, basically it's going to force the Atlantic to once again decide more than likely who's going to be the ACC champion. More than likely. But again, Miami or Pitt can shock the world, but I don't see it without Jordan Addison and Kenny Pickett from Pitt, and I don't really see it from Miami coming out of their first year just after a coaching change. But you never know. So yeah, Greg. So what are your thoughts on that?
So out of the 3 you laid out, I want no common opponent every year, whether it's 2 or 3 or 5 or 6.
Even UNC. Because again, that's the thing.
No, I could care less about that. Honestly, I want a solid rotation. That way, if you think about it this way, if you're 2 common opponents, and I get teams change, they get better, they get worse. But let's say historically, the last 10 years, Duke and Georgia Tech have been garbage. So if that's your 2 teams every year that you're going to end up with, there's a good chance you're already getting +2 ACC wins. And if our 2 are, we'll say Miami, Clemson, I don't know, we can throw a middle range team, Syracuse. That's not level at all.
Range. Yeah,
that's not level.
I got you.
But if you give me, I get what you're saying. All right. I don't know.
Louisville,
Miami, whatever.
Boston
Louisville,
College. Yeah.
But within a 5-year span, if you're rotating through, everyone will have had the same opportunity at some point. Now, whether that team is good or bad in that year doesn't matter, but it all equals out over a 5-year period or 6-year, whatever the rotation equals out. That's what I'm looking for, is the consistency. It's up to then that individual school to maintain their performance or their level of standard. So that's the way I want it. People can have their opinions, and I respect it. I want our best opportunity to win. I could care less of who it comes against, but I want our best opportunity.
Yeah, Michael.
Yeah, I for not common opponents, but recurring opponents every year, I think you go 1 or 0 because I don't know, I can't imagine us not playing UNC every year. we have to play them.
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, I think you got to have one, but then there are teams that don't really have a real rivalry in the ACC, and then that kind of doesn't make sense. But yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I would say 1 or 0, but definitely do away with the divisions.
But then you can make the argument, and we're just making the argument. What if you're the team that ends up with Clemson every year?
Yeah.
I mean, and again, I'm just playing both sides of it.
Yeah, but you could have said the same thing 10 years ago about what if your team plays Florida State every year, and now the last couple of years they've been
right, and that was my point.
A great opponent,
and that was my point. The teams come and go, right?
Yeah.
But historically, Clemson's been pretty good, over the last 10 years. We can probably agree on that. So
yes.
Anyway,
and
it's an interesting argument.
Yeah, and one point too, kind of like a side quick conversation here, just a quick conversation, but I want to jump back into this, but it just goes back to, because again, one of the things I still give Florida State so much crap for is the firing of Jimbo Fisher. Like to me, that is still to this day one of the dumbest decisions.
Well, he didn't get fired,
seen, man. Well, they pushed him out.
Yeah,
they pushed him out.
And Texas A&M came along with a whole bag of money. So that helps.
Right. Truck. Yeah.
But again, you can't tell me that Florida State couldn't pay that.
Yeah. No, 100% they could have paid it.
And he, but again, he deserved it. Again, I don't understand how literally 3 years before that he just won a national championship for you. And so the reason why I'm bringing that up is because Dabo Swinney, again, looking at Clemson, I mean, last year wasn't the best season, but again, it's 9-3. It's, again, nothing to cry about. But again, like, I just still don't understand. I'm still scratching my head on why Clemson is getting so much preseason hype. You just lost your offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. You're either going to start DJ Uiagalelei, who looks decent at best, or a true freshman at quarterback. And then, and then you're basically replacing a lot of key pieces like wide receiver. Again, you're really replacing a lot of pieces there. So again, besides, again, to me, that is the Clemson name. Like if there's ever an example of a name carrying the hype, that's Clemson this year. Because to me, looking at it, there's a lot of hype. But again, it's not like you hired the DC from Notre Dame and the offensive coordinator from Alabama. Like you literally hired. Basically, you promoted your quarterbacks internally, or whatever you hired internally. So I just, that's still so. But so basically, what I'm saying is that if Dabo doesn't have the best year next year, then it just. Do Clemson fans panic at all? Like saying, like just like Florida State saying, "Oh my gosh, we're having a rough year." We don't want him in. Like come on.
They would be crazy to think that. Like honestly, not to say that I want Dabo, but I would take Dabo out of probably 95% of the coaches out there.
Yeah.
Now
he's got pedigree. It's a little different too because he's he repeated the success multiple times. So
of course, yeah.
But again, I don't understand these two decisions that he made about hiring internally. I don't understand that whatsoever. I can't wrap my head around that. To me, that is a gamble. That is a huge gamble. Don't know. You're guessing, you're hoping, you're putting faith in these guys. But what if? Again, I mean, it could work out. I mean, look at I hate to bring up their name, but Hubert Davis, that was a huge gamble. It's worked out for them so far. But again, it could be the other direction, just like with I hate bringing our basketball game, but John Shire, it could work out. It might not. We don't know, So again, it's a huge gamble for a program that didn't need to gamble. He could have hired an OC or DC from any team in the country, and they would have been thrilled to come to Clemson, thrilled to come coach at Clemson. So, anyway. So
no, but
jumping back on
to the last point, you can lose it like you're saying. Jimbo could lose it Dabo could lose it as quickly as Jimbo if it doesn't happen, because 2 to 3 recruiting cycles, and you could. I mean, that's a lot of momentum you can lose real quick. But with the portal, and here's the thing: Clemson doesn't dab into the portal like a lot of teams do. Like they're just not. They're not. That's not their thing.
He's been the biggest critic of it. So again, it would just be like it would be the most. What is it? Where you say one thing but then you immediately do it.
Hypocritical.
Hypocritical. Exactly. It would be the most hypocritical thing for Dabo to literally be like, he was the guy saying, if this happens, I'm quitting and I'm going somewhere else. I'm like, okay, you can say that, but you're getting paid out the yin yang. So anyway, though, so yeah, no, I 100% agree with that too. And I want to ask you about this as well, because again, I mean, I find it interesting that we haven't really done much in terms of, and I want to say we, I mean, we being NCAA football, haven't done a lot really so far in the portal. But, and because I was actually talking about this with one of my buddies today, and I was saying that because he was asking, like, what are your feelings on replacing Icky? Like, do you feel confident? I pretty much told him that with Doran, with what he's done with Corey Durden, with Cyrus Fagan, with bringing in the transfer from Marshall for the defensive back, he filled holes with great pieces that could easily fill those roles. I mean, you lose to Lee McNeil, you bring in Corey Durden, didn't really see much of a drop off. You needed help at the safety, you brought in Cyrus Fagan, and if he didn't have an injury, you wouldn't have seen a drop off. In fact, you would have seen, I think, a great tandem right there with Tanner Ingle and Cyrus Fagan, with like a guy like Jakeem Harris coming in ever so often as well, or God forbid if Tanner Ingle got another targeting or something like that. So again, he does a great job finding pieces in the portal. So to me, I pretty much told him, I said, if you don't see anything, that means that Doran is happy, because at the end of the day too, Doran knows what is at stake this year. We get, like, if we're not sure, fill it. Like, I don't care if you're like 50-50 on it, like, if you're not 100% sure or sold, fill it. Like, we can't go into the middle of the season and find out, oh my gosh, like, I wish I would have, we can't have that this year. So kind of a side piece right there. But
but I think, I don't know. I think we'll be.
I feel good. I feel good about it.
I do, but I don't have, like, I know what you're saying. Like, if we could do anything to make the team better, this is the year to make sure we have that presence.
Yep, absolutely. And Hunter Smith said tough road games this season, one at a time. Absolutely. I am circled, I have highlighted, I have underlined, I have cut out, I have everything that ECU game, because holy smokes, just that will, like,
it will set the tone.
Like, again, if I had to like rank every game in terms of like how satisfying it would be to beat that team this year, at Clemson, if we beat at Clemson, that would be number one, no doubt about it. But I mean,
would ECU, it though, or Carolina? See, here we go. We're going to talk about that again.
Well, again, I'm just saying, but again, ECU, because of the fact that, first of all, it's ACC teams have a tough time beating ECU at ECU. Second of all, is that we haven't beaten ECU in a long time at ECU. But third of all, again, I mean, I could argue football, like, in terms of football rivalries, ECU is right there with our biggest football rivalry, in that conversation. And so, I mean, to beat them there would, oh man, it'd be so satisfying. So, but anyway, so wanted to kind of finish up our topic here on the divisions, and then we'll jump over to talking about the new Pack of Wolves NIL that came out today. So yeah, I mean, to me, I think that it's kind of like you take one, you have one common opponent, which is your rival or whoever you pick as your rival, and then you rotate the rest of them. And because, like, for example, like I really want West Virginia and Pitt to pick up that yearly rivalry again. But like for me, like playing Clemson
this year and next year.
Right, exactly. And they should play it every year. It's an awesome rivalry. Yeah. But like, like Clemson, we have the Textile Bowl rivalry, but I mean, it's for us engineers, we're like, the Textile Bowl engineering, absolutely, that should be up there. But it's nobody says, oh my gosh, it's the Textile Bowl rivalry. It's like,
can't miss.
So, but yeah, so big news coming out today actually is the announcement of the Pack of Wolves collective going live. And so huge today. And I think one of the cool things I saw from it was really kind of the unveiling of really the full roster or staff per se, whatever you want to call it, in terms of all the athletes that are part of it. Yeah. But also staff, like seeing like Scotty McCreery actually, I thought was interesting. Yeah. Because it's like, what is that? I mean, I guess because, and again, we're going to be releasing some episodes later this week where we actually do interview with Scott Wood and Tom Pelosi and Tim McKay actually talking about it. So we'll get more details then. But again, the biggest thing I can see of is just kind of like being that from Scott McCreery is being kind of that advisor or being that person to sit down, discuss, professional money savings, things like that. I mean, is that kind of the initial thing you guys kind of got in terms of Scotty being a part of it?
Yeah. So there's the executive board, which is Scott Wood and I think Tom Lavolsi's on it and a couple other people. That's more of the business side, but then there's an advisory board, which it says on their website. The advisory board provides mentorship and guidance to our student athletes as they develop their personal brands. So more helping them along the lines of that, how to promote themselves, and that's why you see Scotty McCreery on there. He's an entertainer, so how to get yourself out there and promote your own brand.
Yeah, I said it the same way. The executive board is more your strategy team, making connections, and then the mentorship is just like you said, how to go about your day-to-day life, creating your brand. Probably just being responsible about certain things. Exactly right. I'm sure they'll do probably one-on-one classes, training. It's smart. I mean, there was a 30 for 30 a few years ago called Broke, and you're seeing these athletes getting all this money, and then within 4 to 5 years, they broke. So hopefully that that when they're going through these type of things, they can give them how to get successful portfolios and yada yada yada, good business opportunities, and that's important. I hope this thing takes off and that we can start competing with these. Let's be real. We're not going to compete with the Alabamas and the Texases, but
we weren't before. So
exactly. So we can do our part and at a minimum keep the talent that we got, because I think that's going to be just as much as going to get new talent is to be able to offer your in-house folks resources to be able to stay.
I agree with that, Greg. It's not going to be this collective isn't. We're not going to be all of a sudden bringing in 5-star people all over the place. It's going to be about keeping the talent that we get and that we have so that they don't leave to go to a better opportunity.
Yep, absolutely. So again, for those who are wanting more information or want to see how to be involved, whatever it may be, if you can go to their website, which is packofwolvesnil.com. Again, it's packofwolvesnil.com, and go check it out there and get more information about it and what they're all about and how to be involved. And again, huge for this athletics program. I'm so excited to see where this goes. And again, episodes will be coming out starting tomorrow, so make sure to keep an eye out for that. One other thing which I want, with our last 5 minutes here, I want to discuss was the big news. Chandler Zavala getting declared to come back. So the NCAA finally came to their gosh darn senses and let Zavala play as he should. It was, and because that was one thing which when I heard the news, it wasn't like a, oh my gosh, that's awesome, yay. It was like a duh, like again, like
it made sense.
It made sense. It was common sense, basically. Like the guy only played 3-4 games last year, so why? Like seriously, that's going to play against him. Like that would have been a redshirt year any other year. So and once you heard news of them hiring a good lawyer for Chandler to go challenge NCAA, you're like, yeah, no, the lawyer's just going to walk in there and be like, come on, guys, look at this. Come on, seriously, let the guy play.
NCAA tapped out. They're like, we're not doing this.
Yeah.
They got bigger things to worry about.
Yeah, because it's going to cost them more money to litigate it and do all of that than just say, you know what, just go have your year. Good luck.
Yeah.
It's just easier.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's the right thing. I mean, he's played a total of like 30 college games in his career.
Yeah. I think he lost the whole year, right? Like I think he extended school, didn't even play during COVID or something before. Fairfield State
exactly.
Or whatever it was.
That's what I'm saying. Like he should have technically players that play all 5 years, or I guess if they're 5 years, they redshirt. But if you play 4 years, you've played 48 games. Like he's been there 5 years and only played in like 30 games. So like I said, it was just the right thing.
Yeah. And Hunter Smith points out such a monster piece of our running game. Yeah, no, I mean, definitely without Icky, he's going to be our best run blocker on the offensive line for sure. But again, it just goes back to that now. Again, you only really are missing one piece, and so you're just trying to fill that left tackle spot. So
that's a little depth, in case there are any injuries.
Yeah, I mean that's really what it is a safety net for either he starts, which we pretty much are guaranteed that he's going to probably start, and then Now you've got an extra backup somewhere, where you can swing. You have a swing guy, because maybe that's where Zavala would have played, or it gives you a lot more flexibility and options, and that's something that that was one of our question marks, the offensive line, and that's a big fill, not only because he's a big boy, but he's got a lot of talent. So
So hats off to Wolfpack Nation. First of all, I know that not just us, but everybody was really pushing, specifically on social media, to free Chandler Zavala, and luckily enough he was freed, and it's going to be a great piece. I know that Jordan Houston and Demi Sumo and all of our running backs will really appreciate that specifically.
Devin Leary's going to appreciate it too.
That's that too. So, but yeah, absolutely. So excited about that, and I know that I actually spoke with Savion on Saturday at the softball game, and he was specifically thrilled about it. So again, it's just another great piece that we have coming back. So
that's a good point that you just brought up, though. I mean, it just didn't think about it in practice. Those guys get better off of each other, and that's a great talent to where it's going to make Savion better. It's going to make Chandler better. So it's like what is that saying? Steel sharpens steel. That's exactly what it's going to happen, and it's going to alleviate. It's going to not alleviate, elevate both sides of the ball because he's coming back.
Yeah, again, it just strengthens both. It adds strength to one side that again shows any kind of weakness right now, but. Again, it just comes back to you. So here, let me ask you guys this one question, which I think is interesting. So again, we're not at football yet, but again, we're gonna end this with one interesting question, which I thought of. So if let's say whatever your bottom is for next season, like the worst record you could think of that we could theoretically have next season, if we get that record, why do you think it is? Like what do you think causes us to hit that bottom? You understand kind of what I mean by the question?
I'm going to tell you right now, injuries. Its bottom line is injuries.
Okay.
Because there's no reason why we shouldn't be competing for anything less than an ACC championship. There's just none.
Yeah. I mean, unless you totally I don't know. Unless it would be a huge disappointment. Like it would be either the coaching staff making bad game management decisions, or the players just regressing somehow. But
I honestly can't even. And I get what you're saying. I can't even think the staff being that bad. I can't.
Yeah, I know. And
I know you're just kind of coming up with something, right? Because we're that good and we're that close. I mean, we were 4 points away from an ACC championship game. And honestly, if we win Wake Forest, we're in the ACC championship game. So really, we're only 1 point away from an ACC championship game.
Yeah. I mean, here's a better answer. I mean, just the kind of the pressure of being
that's a good point.
Expected to be good. I mean, that can cause mental mistakes, and
the pressure gets to them and they crack. That's
well, so and the thing which I thought of is besides injuries. I mean, obviously injuries is definitely a big one. I'm specifically keeping Peyton Wilson. I'm going to circle Peyton Wilson and keep that guy healthy. That dude could be an absolute beast for us. But the other thing which I thought of as well is I think it's very key this year. Because one stat I want to point out as well that maybe most haven't thought about, but in terms of leading wide receivers, like top wide receivers statistically, three of the four top wide receivers are back. And obviously the one that's not coming back is Emeka, but you still got Thayer, Porter Rooks, and Devin Carter coming back. So again, and then right behind them in fifth is Chris Tootle, and obviously he's coming back. Again, losing Emeka I don't think is really as huge. I mean, it's a loss, but I think that Devin Carter obviously is thirsty to get what Emeka would have had. So I mean, I feel confident about that. But if you ask me, besides injuries, I would say running wise, we need to be more diverse running the ball this year. We need to be productive running the ball this year. Because one reason I say that is we average less than one rushing touchdown per game. I think we only had 11 rushing touchdowns for the entire season, and we got to threaten other ways besides throwing the ball. Again, we averaged 80 rushing yards a game and 155 passing yards per game. If I'm reading, no, that's sorry. I'm reading that wrong. I'm sorry about that. That was first downs. I was reading it wrong. But either way, so we averaged 288 rushing or passing yards per game, and we averaged 126 yards rushing per game. So again, just want to be more 50-50, because I know that Dorn, he, especially early in his tenure, he loved to be more 50-50, have exactly the same rushing yards as he does passing yards. And so I want to get back there. So that's why, again, I mean, if you're confident with Demi Sumo, Michael Allen, and Trent Penix, and Jordan Houston to do that for you, then great. But if not, then maybe we try and snag somebody out of the transfer portal here before fall ball. But again, it's that would be maybe the only thing I could think of, is that basically defenses just zone in, shut off the passing game, and just force us to run the ball.
Yeah.
The running. Go ahead, Michael.
I was just gonna say, like, thinking back on that answer, like an easy answer you would think would be the running game, because we do lose our best run blocker and our two best running backs. But then we were last in the ACC in rushing last year, so it can't really be an excuse.
Yep.
Yeah, and the one thing I would say about the running game is it opens up so many things, right? So you run the ball, you can play action pass off of that. You can get your tight ends involved. Like, there's so many things you can do. But the really big thing that it does is it controls the clock, which allows your defense to rest. And if that's the one thing that's going to potentially hurt us, is a tired defense, especially early in the season when you're playing in some of these hot places like Clemson and Raleigh can get really hot.
ECU is going to be tough.
ECU, correct.
Yeah.
So you're gonna need to rely on that defense. I think the defense is gonna have to steal maybe 1 or 2 games this year, and so you're gonna need them as fresh as you can in the fourth quarter. So that running game, and then the other thing of that is just putting games away at the very end, right? If you need that one first down to put the game away, you need to be able to know, okay, boys, we need 4 yards, 5 yards. Let's go get it, and let's kneel and in this thing. Yep. So no, that's a good point.
Cool. Good deal. So to finish off here, Hunter said, I think Porter is about to break out. I love it. And then watch out for Trent Penix as well. I think that definitely watching the last couple games last year, that is evident for sure. So thank you all so much for tuning in here. Really appreciate it. Hope you all enjoyed it. And again, make sure, again, if you haven't already, first of all, go check out the Pack of Wolves Collective website if you haven't already, to learn more about that and how to be involved. And obviously support softball on Wednesday at 3:30 p.m. on AC Network as they go in the ACC tournament against Georgia Tech. Baseball plays tomorrow against UNCW, and then women's tennis in Raleigh Saturday against California in the Sweet 16. So check that out. Any other things I'm missing?
Nope, you pretty much got it.
I think that's about it.
So.
Okay. Yep. So, and again, also too, if you haven't already, again, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out whenever we release. Specifically, again, coming up here, we got 4 episodes coming up here of huge content, specifically 2 with the Pack of Wolves Collective, and then 2 with NC State Sailing. That is going to be again heading to its second straight back-to-back national championship appearance. So make sure, again, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out when we release those. Give this video a like, and also give us a follow. Tuffy Talk now. But hey, as always, thank you all so much for tuning in, and as always, go Pack, y'all. We'll see y'all soon.